Hey everybody, welcome to the Keep Times podcast. I'm here with Kat from Sorguinazia. How are you today?
I'm doing well, how are you?
Not too bad. So Sorguinazia has a relatively new album.
Well, we worked on it for a number of years, but it's out on October 16th of this year, 15th of this year.
And that album is called Negation of Delirium?
Yeah, the Negation of Delirium, yeah.
And what does that phrase mean to you?
Well, it was originally based off of this mental disorder, which is the delirium of negation, where people don't think that they exist, they don't think they're real, they don't think that their existence is valid.
Sort of like the opposite of a solipsism.
Yeah, like where you have this image of yourself almost as like a ghost and no agency and stuff like that. So the negation of delirium is basically the opposite of that, where you're negating delirium, that you don't have control over your life, I guess. In a sense, it's more to say than that, but...
Fair enough. And what does Sorguinazia mean?
Sorguinazia is based off of a couple of different words, but the main meaning is like the air before a storm. So it's like a witching wind.
Okay,
Yeah.
Cool. And what language was that from?
I think it's Chilean.
Chilean.
Originally. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, and what do you do in the band?
I do a lot. I do guitars, vocals. I do all the production and engineering. A bunch of lyrics as well. Like the demo is all my lyrics, but this is more collaborative with Xolaryxis, my partner in this.
Cool. And do you have a stage name in the band as well?
Yeah, it's Xolaryxis.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what kind of guitar do you play?
I'm playing for that project. I'm using a Charvel right now. It's kind of Jackson, Charvel, Frankenstein. So it's got like DiMarzios and stuff. It's a pretty cool little piece of equipment.
Do you have that one kicking around?
Yeah. This is the main Sorguinazia axe. So yeah, it's got DiMarzios and like a Shaler floating bridge. Needs another setup though. Yeah, it's actually expanded. Usually I do my own setups, but it's expanded a little bit, and this back plate is basically I can't get it out without scratching the shit out of it. So,
Okay.
so I gotta just take it in. But
And so you've got one humbucker and two single coils on there, right?
yeah, it's a beautiful instrument. I got this for $400.
Nice.
Yeah.
And have you upgraded at all since you got it?
No, this is the main Sorguinazia guitar. I did get my my floral gem back into service though, so that'll probably be on the next album, as far as leads and stuff go. But I would love a new Ebenezer Jackson for sure.
Yeah, the floral one you've been using for a long time.
Yeah, it was out of commission for 5 or 6 years though, because I was told it had a really major problem with the floating bridge, and then it turns out that it wasn't that bad.
See.
Yeah.
And you pretty much always use floating bridges then?
Yeah, I like to play around with microtones a little bit with the floating bridge. So if you pull up, and you can really adjust. It's kind of like playing fretless in a way.
Yeah. Kind of makes the whammy do even more.
Yeah, I don't really do a lot of big dives or anything like that, but I like the little warbles and kind of subtle kind of pulls in and out of tuning, and kind of has this almost suctioning effect with sound, because you know everything's vibrating, but if you drop the tuning a little bit, it kind of opens the room in a way. I don't know. It's fun to kind of play around with textures. Texture is probably the most important thing to me with guitar playing. So.
Cool. And do you use any particular pedals?
Yeah, I have. So for my live setup, I really like these two MXRs. Yeah, so.
Is it the carbon copy?
Yeah, it's carbon copy, and then the analog chorus. And then I just use my built-in angle reverb for live, and then I also have
the whammy.
the old school one where it's still kind of digital and kind of it has a digital chunkiness, sharpness.
I think
to
it has a MIDI input, doesn't it?
I don't know if this has any MIDI. I don't think so. Oh, it does.
Yeah.
I've never messed around with that. And then recording wise, I usually use my Axe effects, but I'll likely use microphones next time.
Yeah. I remember the most annoying thing about the whammy is the old school ones had a really weird power cable to them. Like they weren't standard.
Oh yeah,
9
like
volt.
this. Yeah, this one's kind of a pain in the ass, honestly. Better than my Electro Harmonics one. I had to get special order when I lost my Electro Harmonics. I had the Polychorus for a long time, and that was like a $30 power supply, and I didn't like that.
Yeah, they're annoying, and you can't just hook a daisy chain into it.
I can't daisy chain that, but it's 9 volt, but it doesn't fit, so you need a separate 9 volt. Yeah.
Yeah, and have you ever got into modelers or boards where you just click?
Well, I do have the Axe effects, and then I do have I have the MXC or whatever that's called. So I use that a little bit. I haven't really done it live like I have with my other projects, but it's very finicky. It's just a lot easier for me to just, hook up these pedals for what we're doing with Sorguinazia right now. We did get a couple of local session players though, so now that we'll have actual real band practices with a full band all the time, I'll be able to explore a little bit more with actual live textures and stuff instead of having to always be playing something to have the music still flow. Yeah.
Cool. And so do you go at shows, would you go directly Axe effects to the board, or do you use an amp?
Oh, I don't use the Axe effects live. I just use my Angle.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And these guys.
Cool. And matching cab and head?
Yeah.
Cool. So I found this old CD, I believe.
Oh Lord,
You
yes,
probably remember.
2014. Yeah, that's my baby there. Yeah.
And so are you involved in any projects that remotely resemble that these days?
I remember when I showed you Sorguinazia, when we first came out with it, and I don't even know if you responded, because I knew you were expecting something like this. That's really, really funny. Probably not for a while. I do have another project under Catherine Anaka, which is a little bit more experimental and weird, but it's still pretty laid back. I hurt my hands a lot making this. This album was armor for me, because I was so sick of basically men treating me like shit as a musician. Or I made this, and no one could ever talk shit to me again.
You shredded on that.
So this was the thing that gave me the ability to do whatever the fuck I want, basically. Which gives me a lot of complicated feelings. I wasn't prepared for this.
Do you think you shred as hard these days as you did back
Oh,
then?
I have slowly unlearned the guitar, but I enjoy listening to what I play now. It's not a feeling of tension or I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just expressing myself these days, and this is me trying to do something. Not that it's horrible, or not that I wouldn't maybe explore that more in the future, but I have chronic pain and stuff too. It's a challenge to maintain any semblance of skill, and this was hours a day.
Yeah.
And this was my first project. I did all the drum programming, I did everything for it, and I was so traumatized after that. I didn't touch a recording program for until I recorded Sorguinazia, so 2 years after this, because it just was so stressful to even want to open the program. So yeah, it's but yeah, this was my ticket to self-confidence, basically.
So you said you do the engineering and stuff for Sorguinazia?
Yeah.
So what DAW do you use?
Logic Pro X. Yeah, since these days. Well, I used Logic Pro whatever before, but
Cool.
yeah.
And any particular hardware that you think is vital to your recording process?
Well, again, just Axe effects for guitar is such an amazing thing, because I used to do, well, now I have a studio, but I used to home record all the time, and just being able to have great sounding guitar recordings without having to have a amp and head like cranked up to
the big room,
whatever ungodly fucking volumes to record. So that's really important for me. And then just my army of plugins and time.
What's your favorite guitar plugin?
CLA on Waves. It's like the Christian Alt Warbler. I didn't know you were gonna ask me all these like gear questions, so I would have brushed up. But yeah, it's like CLA for guitar, and it's just this like one plugin that like just the EQ is so nice and it just opens up the reverb and it just makes guitar sound magical very, very easily. So
cool. And are you open to other customers if people wanted you to record their band? Or?
Oh yeah. I'm a full-time musician.
Cool. And so how would people?
Horrifying, yeah.
So how would people get a hold of you to hire you as an engineer?
Guitarwitch.ca. Yeah. Or
cool.
just Guitarwitch on Facebook. Whatever. Yeah.
Cool. And so with your guitar playing, who do you think, at least for Sorguinazia, are your biggest influences?
Oh, I really love Furs. I really love Negative Plane. But I found like a lot of those bands kind of after or like during recording for it, so it's a little bit odd. But yeah, they're just kind of like bands that I kind of like identify with as far as sound. I don't know if I was like really trying to sound like anything specifically. It was just kind of like how I write. Like I actually have like terrible memory. Like people are like, oh, write a riff like this or write a riff like that. And it's like I couldn't remember most people's riffs like to save my life. So I couldn't copy stuff even if I wanted to.
Like who would you say is your favorite metal guitarist?
Oh, but his favorite metal guitarist. I really love Larry Lalonde and Possessed. I love Larry Lalonde and Primus too, but I'm obsessed with Larry Lalonde.
You guys used to do Primus covers, I think.
I did Primus covers with this band. Yeah, I think he's such an underrated guitar player. But yeah, Possessed is like incredible. Yeah, I really love Infernal Majesty. It's like a Canadian band. Yeah, and then I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm on the spot. It's like so difficult. Yeah, Furs. Furs is really big for me. It's like very like atonal and like barely hanging on in a way, which is, I kind of like that.
With the microtones and stuff.
Yeah, with the microtones and stuff, and it's just so like just sounds like channeled. Like it's not like you can tell like there's not that much like preconception built into it. There's no possible way it could. Like it just like happens in a way. Like I like improvised stuff a lot. Yeah. Cool.
And do you get into any of the like one man acts where they're nearly just straight noise?
Not really, no.
Fair enough.
Yeah, no, I don't. Do you have any suggestions?
Oh, no, not particularly. There's a good local group called Esmeralda.
Oh, okay.
Where they basically just break guitars with effects on them. But
interesting. Yeah, I've heard some of like, I had a couple of friends like in the avant-garde kind of composing scene before U of A shut that down, and they're just, I don't know if I would say that I respect it because like I really like experimental music, but I like I like the outcome of stuff more so than the process. Like I don't really care if you're like plugging like what you're doing to like make the sound. It's what the sound is after.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I care about, but they seemed a lot more interested in like having unique processes than in like making something that was listenable. Yeah, like one of my friend's taglines, she's gonna hate me for this if she ever sees it, but it was like pushing the limits of like bearability or something like that, or of it was just like basically like seeing how much like trauma you could take like audio wise, and I was like, that's not what I want to do. I don't identify with that really.
Not to mention like Anal Cunt and Mersbo have done it, like it's been done. Yeah,
and that's just not really what I'm about, so.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Are there any Canadian bands that you think people should check out or listen to right now?
Oh, yeah, well, like, just in Edmonton, like, as far as black metal goes, like, we're pretty wild, like, with Revenge and Rights and Antediluvian and Brolvanatu. Yeah, those are my favorites. Boschmu is really good. They're the guys from out east. He was here for a little while, but that's a one-man act. That's mostly improvised too, I believe, and that's a really good project. Yeah, off the top of my head, those are the ones that come out straight away, but there's tons of them.
Cool.
Yeah.
Any shows coming up with Sorguinazia?
We were going to do that show in Vancouver, and then like with Antediluvian and Revenge, and then we decided not to, and then Revenge dropped, so I don't know really it was like Ghosts of the Covenant. So I'm not sure if that's even happening still, like with all the restrictions and stuff. We just have been holding off on planning anything too much.
Fair enough, working more on recording.
Well, we did just hire means we pay them, but we just started jamming with a couple of local people. So we do have like a 4-piece for live now. So hopefully for 2022 we'll be ready to rock.
Cool. So yeah, in 2022, everybody watch out for Sorguinazia and their new album and shows they will be playing. So I think that's all I have for you for today.
All right.
Thanks for having us in your studio.
Thank you.
Peace.